Have you ever pondered the complex layers of racism that exist in the Dominican Republic? The genesis of this issue can be traced back to the African slave trade, and its repercussions are still felt today. In the Dominican Republic, the concept of blackness is often associated with Haitian migrants and lower social status. Individuals with African-like features frequently become victims of discrimination, being perceived as outsiders. A United Nations envoy in October 2007 discovered racism against black people, particularly Haitians, permeated all aspects of Dominican society. Let's turn back the clock to the era of the Dominican dictator, Rafael Leonidas Trujillo, who ruled from 1930 to 1961. Trujillo fervently fueled anti-Haitian sentiment, employing racial persecution and nationalistic fervor against Haitian migrants. Moreover, the Dominican Republic adheres to a right of blood law, which determines nationality based on ancestral lineage instead of birthplace. This law has resulted in a vast population of Haitian migrant descendants who are not recognized as citizens, leaving them stateless. A study in 2013 even concluded that the Dominican Republic was the second most xenophobic country in the Americas. Now, consider the socioeconomic status and racial hierarchy in the Dominican Republic. Like many European colonized countries in Latin America, there's a stark correlation between race and wealth here. The upper classes are predominantly of European origin, the middle class exhibits a broad spectrum of skin tones, and the lower classes and underclass are darker, with many of Haitian background. In the Dominican Republic, those of predominant European ancestry enjoy economic and social privilege, along with strong representation in politics, business, and the media. In contrast, those of African ancestry inhabit the lowest strata of society. Whiteness is often associated with wealth, intelligence, beauty, and cleanliness, while blackness is associated with poverty, lower education, and unattractive features. Racial classification in the Dominican Republic is heavily influenced by European colonization and the propagation of the idea of Africans or darker people as inferior. The mixed-race population identifies as mestizo or indio rather than mulatto, preferring to acknowledge only their European and indigenous heritage. Meanwhile, those with darker skin and traits associated with blackness face rejection and social exclusion. In Latin America, racial categorization is more fluid than in other parts of the world. People identify themselves based on skin color and facial features rather than ancestry. For instance, a person with some degree of black ancestry can identify as non-black if they can pass as such. Socioeconomic status also heavily influences race classification, correlating with whiteness. As we look at the present day, it is clear that the roots of racism in the Dominican Republic run deep, and the branches have spread wide. It's time to pick up the mantle and educate ourselves about the nuances of racism. By understanding its historical roots and present manifestations, we can contribute to a more inclusive and equitable society. It's time to break the chains of ignorance and prejudice. Knowledge is the key. Let's turn it together.